When a man feels real love, something inside him begins to change in a way he cannot ignore. It is like an awakening that touches both the part of him he understands and the part he rarely sees. Love stops being a simple emotion and becomes a reflection of who he is. It is no longer just about liking someone deeply. It becomes a mirror that shows the harmony or imbalance inside his own soul. When he meets someone who matches his inner truth, the line between what he feels within and what he sees outside begins to fade. It is as if a forgotten song starts playing again, reminding him of who he really is beneath all the noise, stress, and layers of ego. He feels both vulnerable and complete at the same time, gentle yet strong, open yet steady. This kind of connection is not about two people trying to complete each other. It is about recognizing a piece of oneself in the other person. He feels a strange familiarity not because of shared memories, but because something about this bond echoes the hidden parts of his being. That kind of love invites him into the journey of discovering himself more honestly. He begins to notice the soft movement between his inner world and the world around him. The emotions he feels are not random. They come with meaning. They symbolize the conversation happening between his conscious mind and the deeper forces shaping his life. When he loves sincerely, he does not lose himself in the relationship like many do when they are driven by desire, fear of being alone, or the need to be needed. Instead, he finds a more honest version of himself through this connection. The bond becomes a sacred mirror that reflects his strengths and his wounds. Every warm moment, every disagreement, and every quiet pause becomes a lesson in awareness. He learns that real love is not about escaping his own truth, but bringing that truth into harmony with the presence of someone who matters. In true love, he is not controlled by mere attraction or blinded by fantasy. His affection comes from a deeper recognition, an understanding that love in its purest form is an expression of truth. This truth does not demand perfection. It accepts wholeness. It embraces the fact that love can be soft and intense, healing and honest, revealing and comforting. He understands that loving someone sincerely means standing before them without pretending, allowing his heart to be seen without tricks or emotional masks. In that openness, he finds a very rare kind of strength because love that comes from authenticity cannot be broken by ego, fear, or pride. It does not depend on perfect circumstances. It is born from the connection of two souls, seeing each other beyond appearances and beyond the surface of daily life. As he deepens into this experience, he becomes aware of how much this love is reshaping him. His inner world feels aligned with something greater than his old desires or habits. He stops seeking validation from achievements or the approval of others. He begins to seek connection through honesty. The woman he loves becomes a reflection of his own growth and transformation. He does not love her to avoid loneliness or fill an empty space. He loves her because her presence resonates with the deepest place within him that longs for balance, unity, and purpose. In her, he sees the representation of his own inner harmony, the living expression of something his soul has always wanted to show. This is why when a man feels true love, his energy softens, his attention deepens, and his behavior becomes more steady. He stops feeling restless because the chase for external satisfaction turns into a journey of inner clarity. Real love becomes a spiritual alignment, not an ownership. It teaches him that loving someone honestly means accepting life as it is without exaggeration or denial. It draws him closer to reality and to truth, asking him to be both humble and bold. Through this love, he learns that the deepest connection he can have with someone else begins with the connection he has with himself. It becomes the harmony between his inner and outer worlds, the balance between emotion and understanding, intensity and calm. Love, in its truest form, stops being a desire to control and becomes an invitation to awaken. When a man experiences real love, he realizes that true strength is not shown by how well he hides his emotions, but by how openly he allows himself to feel them. Vulnerability becomes the bridge between his heart and his soul, between the version of himself he shows the world and the version he keeps inside. In a world that often teaches men to silence their emotions, to appear unshaken no matter what they face, genuine love gently removes those heavy layers of protection. It encourages him to lower his shield, to let someone see the parts of him he once covered, and to trust that he will still be accepted. This process is both frightening and freeing. It forces him to let go of control, release the illusion that he must be invincible, and face his fears of rejection, not being enough or losing what he cares for. But by embracing this vulnerability, he finds a deeper kind of courage, the courage to be real. When he opens his heart, he begins to reveal the layers of his humanity that he once hid behind silence, logic, or pride. He lets his partner see his doubts, his worries, and the quiet pain he rarely expresses. This honesty becomes a sacred offering, a sign that he trusts her enough to show his true self without holding back. In those moments, his words carry a sincerity that does not come from trying to impress, but from trying to connect. He admits when something scares him. He speaks openly when something hurts. He expresses gratitude when he feels understood. There is a calm but powerful beauty in this honesty, a strength that is far greater than dominance or emotional distance. He realizes that vulnerability does not make him weak. It makes him human, and his humanity becomes the foundation of love that lasts. Through vulnerability, his idea of intimacy changes. He no longer sees emotional closeness as a risk, but as a place of safety. The walls he once built to protect himself slowly fade, not because love makes him blind, but because it makes him brave enough to see clearly. He begins to see the beauty in emotional openness. He listens with empathy instead of reacting with defensiveness. He speaks with attention instead of trying to perform, and he feels with awareness instead of fear. His emotional life becomes fuller, more honest, and more awake. In that openness, his partner no longer feels like a threat to his freedom, but a companion in his emotional journey. The more he allows himself to open up, the stronger the bond becomes, because love grows where truth is allowed to exist without fear. This change is not always easy. There are moments when he wants to pull back, when old habits make him want to hide his feelings again. He feels the urge to protect himself from discomfort. But each time he chooses honesty over withdrawal, he becomes stronger. Being emotionally open becomes a gentle rebellion against the false ideas of masculinity that once limited him. He learns that vulnerability is not giving up power, it is giving up pretending. It is the place where love becomes sacred, where two souls connect without ego standing in the way. As he embraces this depth, love stops feeling like a battle of pride or control. It becomes a space where both partners heal each other. His vulnerability encourages her vulnerability, creating a connection built on truth instead of illusions. He understands that real closeness comes not from perfection, but from shared honesty. When a man feels real love, his strongest quality is not how much he can carry alone, but how deeply he can connect while staying true to who he is. His heart becomes open, yet protected by the sincerity of his intentions. In that balance, he discovers a peacefulness only genuine love can give. When a man feels true love, his understanding of connection shifts from possession to growth. He no longer wants to own or control the woman he loves. Instead, he wants to evolve alongside her. Love becomes an experience of awakening for both, not a competition or a way to fill a void. It is not about holding someone tightly out of fear of losing them. It is about giving them the space to be fully themselves while still choosing to stay connected. In this kind of love, his affection is not fueled by insecurity or dominance, but by respect and admiration. He cherishes her individuality, seeing it as something precious. He understands that her independence is not an attack on his masculinity, but a sign of her strength and beauty. He wants to step into her world, not restrict it. His heart widens as he realizes that real love does not ask for possession. It encourages growth. When he loves with honesty, he views the relationship as a place where both souls can develop and rise. He does not try to shape her into his idea of perfection because he has learned to love without forcing expectations. Every moment they share turns into a chance to understand more, to listen deeper, and to raise their awareness together. His love slowly shifts from attachment to understanding. He begins to notice the small things, the quiet gestures, the sincere talks, the way growth sometimes needs space instead of constant closeness. He values balance, knowing that love flourishes through harmony rather than control. Through her, he learns the importance of patience, realizing that love must breathe if it is to stay alive. Such a man does not mistake possession for protection. He does not view her freedom as something dangerous, but as a natural extension of love itself. His wish is not to tie her down, but to walk beside her as an equal, allowing both of their spirits to open and unfold in their own rhythm. When she succeeds, he feels happiness instead of fear. When she changes, he tries to understand rather than resist. His love is not dependent on her meeting some ideal image he created. It grows through her honesty, through the truth of who she is. He sees that love is not a cage for another soul, but a reflection of his own depth and maturity. By supporting her independence, he also honors his own integrity. Real love is built on shared respect. This kind of love also changes how he sees himself. He begins to understand that real connection requires emotional maturity and awareness of one's own inner world. The more he grows from within, the more able he becomes to give without fear and receive without feeling guilty. He learns that love is not about filling an internal emptiness, but about sharing what is already full inside. His affection flows easily because it is not mixed with ego or the desire to control. He finds joy in seeing her shine, knowing that her brightness does not dim his own. Their relationship becomes a dance of two individuals who choose each other, not out of dependence, but because they are aligned in spirit and intention. In this expanding space, love becomes a force that lifts them higher. Both inspire each other to rise above their limits, fears, and self-doubt. They become mirrors for one another, reflecting both beauty and lessons. He understands that love is not about being above someone. It is about holding hands and walking together through life's uncertainties. His care becomes soft but steady. His passion becomes warm but not overwhelming. His loyalty shows itself through giving freedom, not taking it away. This is the kind of love that not only changes relationships but changes the very nature of who a man becomes. He learns that the purpose of loving someone is not to own their heart, but to expand his own. Through her presence, he realizes again that true love is not about holding someone in place. It is about growing, balancing, and evolving together as two souls walking in truth. When a man feels real love, there is a quiet recognition that goes beyond physical attraction, beyond logic, and beyond the limits of time. It is as though his soul remembers something that his mind cannot describe. When he looks into the eyes of the woman he loves, there is a moment of stillness, a deep awareness that he has met someone who reflects the core of who he is. This recognition does not come from thinking or analyzing. It comes from an inner knowing, an intuitive feeling that this connection is not ordinary. He finds peace in her presence, a calmness that says more than any words could. It is not the high of infatuation, not the rush of desire, but a quiet sense of belonging, as though his heart has found a place where it no longer needs to hide. In that still moment, he feels familiarity, as if they have known each other in ways that memory cannot explain, as if their souls have crossed paths before. This recognition is not something he feels the need to justify. It is not about looks or status or logic. It is a spiritual alignment he feels deep inside. He does not seek constant reassurance or proof, because the connection itself feels real and undeniable. There is an unseen thread that ties their energies together, a pull that brings him closer, not from need, but from resonance. He feels understood by her, even in silence. Her presence alone brings order to his thoughts and direction to his purpose. When she speaks, her words often match feelings he has not yet expressed. When she is quiet, her silence feels whole instead of empty. It is as if their communication moves on a level beyond language, carried by intuition and energy. He feels seen, not for who he pretends to be, but for who he truly is beneath everything. This connection awakens a sense of devotion in him. He becomes more present, more aware, and more careful with his emotions. He does not need to chase or prove himself. Instead, he values the bond through steady effort and genuine attention. It is not about grand romantic gestures, but about quiet consistency, how he listens, how he respects her peace, and how he shows up without needing to be asked. Every small action becomes a reflection of a deeper truth he carries inside. When he holds her, it is not only physical. It is a moment where he feels spiritually aligned, as if he is holding a part of his own soul, something he must respect, protect, and never take lightly. This recognition does not only bring comfort, it also challenges him. True love reflects both light and shadow, showing him not just what he cherishes, but also what he needs to face within himself. Her presence stirs parts of him that have been quiet for years. His tenderness, his fears, his old wounds, and his desire to grow. Yet he does not run from it, because he senses that the purpose of this connection is transformation. Through her, he starts to understand himself more deeply. Their relationship becomes a path of inner discovery and self-awareness, guided more by intuition than logic. When he feels this quiet recognition, his love stops being about possession and becomes about respect, care, and reverence. He begins to see her as more than a partner. She becomes a reflection of something sacred, a mirror that brings out his higher nature. He realizes that real love is not something he stumbles upon. It is something he remembers. It feels destined yet free, familiar yet new, close yet limitless. It is a bond where words often become unnecessary, because understanding moves naturally between two souls that seem to have finally found their place beside each other. Through this silent recognition, he experiences love not as a passing feeling, but as a timeless connection between spirits that have always known where they belong. When a man feels authentic love, the structure of his inner world begins to shift. Love becomes a force that reaches deep inside him, changing how he sees life, how he understands himself, and how he relates to the world. He begins to look through new eyes, no longer guided only by logic or desire, but by meaning. The woman he loves awakens a softness within him, a compassion that was once guarded, and a strength that comes not from pride, but from clarity and understanding. In her presence, he feels something sacred begin to rise, a realization that love is not just an emotion, it is a process that reshapes who he is. Through love, he faces himself. The confusion inside him, the insecurities he once hid, and the fears he ignored come forward. But instead of avoiding them, he embraces them. He starts to understand that the purpose of love is not to provide comfort, but to awaken the deeper parts of his soul. With this awakening, he learns that love is not a trade or a temporary excitement. It is a mirror reflecting both his beauty and his unfinished places. Every joy and every challenge they share becomes a step toward a deeper understanding. When disagreements appear, he no longer argues to win, but to truly understand. When hurt shows up, he does not shut down. He listens closely to what his feelings are trying to reveal. Love teaches him patience, humility, and acceptance. It softens the sharp edges of his ego, reminding him that real connection does not grow through control, but through surrender. He begins to value honesty over pride, empathy over force, and presence over performance. Every moment with her becomes a chance to practice being more real, more open, and more aware. He realizes that love is not about holding someone forever, but about holding each moment with genuine sincerity. This change does not stay only inside the relationship. His whole view of life starts to shift. Ordinary things slowly gain meaning. The sound of her laughter, the way morning light enters a quiet room, the comfort of simply sitting near her. He begins to notice beauty where he once saw routine. Love awakens his sensitivity to the small details of life, teaching him that the true essence of living is not in big achievements, but in genuine presence. The world becomes less about competing and more about connecting. He starts to see how deeply everything is linked, how love is not just between two people, but a force that exists in all of creation. This understanding humbles him and roots him in gratitude and calmness. By loving fully, he also learns the art of letting go, not as abandonment, but as acceptance. He understands that love cannot be forced or controlled. It must be cared for with trust and faith. He lets go of the idea that love must always feel perfect. Realizing that its true strength comes from growing through imperfections, the relationship becomes a living space for both souls to evolve, to stumble and rise, to hurt and heal, and to transform side by side. He begins to see love not as something he owns, but as a path toward inner awakening. Every moment of love, even the painful ones, becomes a lesson guiding him toward a better version of himself. Through this inner shift, his love matures from simple emotion into devotion. He becomes calmer, wiser, and more grounded. He no longer runs from vulnerability because he has realized that vulnerability leads to truth. His affection grows not through dramatic gestures, but through steady presence and quiet loyalty. He understands that real love is not something he gives or receives. It is something he becomes by loving her. He becomes more human, more compassionate, and more awake. The man who once searched for validation from the world now finds meaning in simply being genuine. Love has turned him inside out, removing illusions and revealing his essence. In that transformation, he discovers that to love sincerely is to grow endlessly toward understanding, balance, and inner peace. When a man feels real love, he begins to understand the sacred responsibility that comes with it. Love becomes more than a passing feeling or a brief emotional spark. It becomes a conscious commitment to protect, uplift, and support the woman he loves without trying to dominate her. He feels a deep sense of duty, not from obligation, but from respect for the connection they share. This devotion gives weight to his actions. His words carry honesty. His presence gives comfort, and his loyalty becomes quiet but unwavering. When he loves with sincerity, he no longer moves through life carelessly. Every decision he makes includes her peace, her growth, and her emotional well-being. He understands that real love is not about the thrill of the beginning, but the endurance of the soul. It is the calm choice to stay, to show up, to be steady in a world that constantly shifts. This love reshapes his idea of commitment. It is no longer possession or routine. It becomes a sacred promise he makes within his heart. He understands that love requires patience, effort, and understanding. He learns to be present not only in joy, but in discomfort, not only during passion, but during silence. He does not disappear when problems show up because his love is not based on convenience. It is grounded in purpose. He is not loyal because he fears losing her. He is loyal because he respects the truth of what they share. Through this devotion, he becomes emotionally stable, reliable, and grounded. His actions match his feelings, and his consistency speaks louder than any words could. His love becomes the kind that brings healing instead of confusion, calmness instead of chaos. When he loves authentically, he also learns balance, the delicate skill of giving without losing himself. He does not erase who he is for love, nor does he expect her to lose herself. He understands that love must grow beside individuality. He supports her dreams as strongly as his own, creating a space where both can rise. His love becomes an environment of mutual growth, not dependence. He learns that strength in love is not about control, but about steadiness. The strength to stay kind when anger tempts him, to listen when pride wants to argue, to remain gentle even when the world feels harsh. His love deepens from passion to purpose, from desire to meaning. This honest love also reshapes how he sees masculinity. He no longer needs to prove his value through dominance or material achievements. Instead, he finds meaning in his ability to love deeply, protect sincerely, and act with honesty. His emotional maturity becomes a sign of his inner growth. Love becomes the path through which he understands the balance between strength and softness, thought and emotion, action and stillness. Through this, he becomes not just a lover, but a partner, a guide, and a place of emotional safety. A man who feels real love does not simply say, "I love you." He shows it in the quiet moments, in patience, and in the way he stays present even when life becomes uncertain. His love does not fade over time because it is not built on fantasy. It is built on soul. He stands with her not to lead or to follow, but to walk beside her through life's unfolding seasons. His devotion becomes timeless, a calm promise to keep choosing her again and again. Not because he has to, but because his heart cannot imagine a truth more real. When a man feels deep, truthful love, his whole being rises into something more peaceful, steady, and meaningful. It is not a love that burns fast and disappears. It is a love that shapes him slowly, refining him over time. Through this love, he learns that it is not a conquest or a flicker of emotion. It is a spiritual mirror that shows him who he is. He discovers that loving genuinely means growing, facing himself honestly, and moving beyond ego. Love teaches him truth, patience, and balance. It breaks his pride but strengthens his spirit. It teaches him that real strength is not about never being shaken, but about being brave enough to stay open even when closing off feels easier. In this depth of feeling, he finds inner peace. He stops trying to be admired for what he can control. Instead, he finds meaning in what he can understand and nurture. The woman he loves becomes both a mirror and a guide, teaching him how to love, not through ownership, but through presence. Through her he learns kindness. Through her he learns calmness. And through her he learns that the strongest form of love is the one that frees, not traps. He realizes that true love does not demand perfection. It invites two imperfect souls to grow together, side by side, learning, forgiving, becoming. Authentic love becomes his awakening. It turns his silence into meaning, his fear into insight, and his passion into purpose. It grounds him in humility while lifting him beyond his limits. He understands that love is not a way to escape reality, but the deepest way to meet it. In the end, love is not about finding someone to complete him. It is about recognizing the reflection that guides him toward completeness within himself. When a man feels real love, he does not just feel emotion. He experiences growth. It is the meeting of two souls reminding each other who they were always meant to be. Through that sacred recognition, he learns that love is not only what joins two hearts, it is what awakens the soul to its highest truth.